The full driving review of the BMW 5 Series Touring, the most famous one in good old Germany. This one here is really bought primarily here in Deutschland as the 5er Touring. So we're going to take a detailed look on exterior, interior and of course the versatility, especially of those rear compartments, and then the driving performance with the 5 Series. If you haven't seen it so far, the M550i was also recently launched by us in the full review. You can also check out that episode. Here today it's more about the Touring. We'll all do that in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go! The color here is bluestone metallic, so a very bright blue which goes in the gray direction. And I was recently asked the Mediterranean blue we've shown you in the M550i and also on the motor show episode of this Touring here. Yet it was the same color. It's both Mediterranean blue, but the Mediterranean blue, it really shines darker outside, and when you have inside light, it's brighter. Very interesting. But I think a very stylish color here too, or what do you think? What is great that we have the headlights, always standard equipment with LED. Optional, what we have here, are those high beam LED that you have, and then with 500 meters of range. And you see they lead over with the aluminum accentuation here to the now bigger double kidney with adaptive air intakes. At the moment they are closed, so a very prominent, very strong front. It is an evolution, but it is the widest look the 5 Series has yet. 4.94 meters or 16'2" is the length, same for the sedan and the estate version. Here we also have an M Sports package just for the visual part with the M logo here. Then 17 up to 19-inch rims. So we see the 19-inch rims here, and they look very beautiful also in the M style. Then also everything in the same vehicle color, chrome contrast all around here. So an elegant, rather conservative layout in the side profile, especially also with this classic Touring style. See, everything is rather straight, but then this also good advantage that you don't lose too much room on the inside. What do you think about? Do you rather prefer the sedan or do you like the Touring more for the 5 Series? Tell me in the comments. Also the rear is rather conservative, but you know, they do have the strategy to go for an evolution in design, and this segment is also, you know, not about doing design revolutions in general. The taillights, they're pretty similar to the ones we see at the sedan, just, you know, this area is of course different. And here you will see we'll still have the split hatch. We will soon show you that in the interior part, that the glass part can also just be opened. And although we have a diesel, we have those exhaust pipes which are quite massive. The outer part widens to the end to have an aligned design here. In this one you can already see it right now is the 530D. But we also have an exclusive new information. What about, because I was asked, what about an M550i for the Touring? Let's take a look and answer that question. And if engine doesn't really matter to you, you don't need 6, you need 8 cylinders, whatever, you just say, I also want to go with the basic, and maybe even for that one you can get a sporty styling package. So you get those M performance parts, and this for example is just a 520D, but it has those black elements here, very sporty, carbon fiber lower bumper. This will get very expensive if you damage it, by the way. But what an aggressive look, although we don't have the biggest engine under the hood, already in the front here. That also accounts for the side. We can see 20-inch rims here in black style. I like that the Pirelli tires overlap them a little bit to protect them. Then we have black contrast here, not only at the lower part, but also here in this design line. This is wrap. And we got carbon fiber covers for the outer mirrors. Again, a really dark atmosphere for sure. Almost a little bit evil, isn't it? So probably the most evil 5 Series touring you can get from the standard works equipment. And then to the rear, this is even more massive with the carbon fiber diffuser, really massive. And in this case, those are also some fake exhaust pipes, but they really dissolve from the actual exhaust pipe. So I think it's really well done. If you want that aggressive look, I mean, why not going for a small engine and just getting this look? Because there was also one question recently, do those very big engines make sense? Well, in most countries, not. There are hardly any countries where you can really drive freely and so with high speed on the motorways. So usually also you're fine also with a 520D, for example. And now to the engine information. Here we go. So this one here is the big diesel 530D, 265 horsepower, 3 liter of displacement. Then there's a 520D, 2 liter, 190 horsepower. And then we have 2 liter petrol, 252 horsepower, the 530i, or 3 liter 540i with 340 horsepower. That's the engine lineup so far. And now new was the M550i, the new 8-cylinder then with 462 horsepower. And then I got the question if that will also be available for the touring. No, it won't be. So we can tell you today they have decided to launch here for the diesel the or in the touring combination, the M550D. So the touring will get the most powerful, this M performance version as the diesel, and it will still be the basic diesel engine we see here right now, but not just with twin power turbo, but with 4 turbos then, and it will reach a power output of 400 horsepower. The big key here for the 5 Series. And you can also remotely park that car. We will show you that at the very end of this episode a little bit, or also check the 550i review for that. Let's open the door. Here we go. And visually very nicely done with this aluminum and bright contrast, and very well processed, also soft up at the top. The optional sound systems here, Bowers and Wilkins is also equipped with that one. Small bottles fit right there. Then also M package inside, but what I'm missing is the usual seat for the M package would then be a rhombical Alcantara mix, so fabric Alcantara mix. I would like to see that seat at some point. It's only available in black. And in Germany you get fabric seats also as standard equipment. And in the US, you can get Sensatec in this color, in beige or bright, and also Sensatec Leatherette in black. And then optional animal skins. But they do offer enough alternative, that's good. Then if we take a look here, the M steering wheel, this one is also optional, comes with a package almost with a heated function. There's a small symbol then you can press to get warm fingers then too. And the first glimpse also at the instruments, you see they are digital. You don't see too much when the engine is not running. Let's get inside. Fairly easy entry, and the one is 86 or 6'1", and this one is here now equipped with a panoramic roof that leaves less headroom than we have in the sedan. For example, we've shown you the 550i without the panoramic roof. Then you can compare it if you're interested in that. So if you're like 2 meters or 6'3", then probably leave out the panoramic roof. But here in the Touring also goes further away. I can soon show you that, and leaves a lot of light in the interior. Basically a very comfy seating position. You can also adjust the seats in so many different ways. Also the seating area in the lower part, so everyone will find a comfortable seating position here in general. Steering wheel can also be adjusted electronically, so fairly easy that's set up. And you also have a seat memory function if you want to go for that. Of course, most of the stuff is always optional. I mean, at least we had the LED lights from standard equipment, and but especially in the interior, so many stuff that is optional, and then you get easier to very high prices. Cockpit overview, I think you see how much light is coming through the panoramic roof, and plus the other bright elements in the interior also bring some more light to the rest. So this is a very bright interior in general, and I really like that. And as I said, you can also get it with sensor tech, for example, for our guys in the US. That of course counts for the sedan, because the Touring, the Estate, is not available in the US. They focus on the European market with that. But later on also the GT, for example, renewed again. Then what you can see here, all soft in the dashboard, high class building processing, and also in the lower part, it is not hard plastic. And they really step up the game. So the 5 Series is the best processed BMW from the interior so far. We really have to say that. Climate unit is in the lower part, and you can see visually one unit with a new screen. It starts with 8.8, this a little smaller. This one then the optional screen, because the manufacturers always equip everything with the car, even if we want to show you some basic cars, sometimes it's quite often not possible. This one here 10.25 in inch, so also in this horizontal layout. And you can also see those sensors here, because those sensors here already take some functions with the infotainment screen. For example, here, like this one here, you can turn up the volume or go down with the volume again with this gesture control. Or for example, like this, we change the radio station. So you can switch radio stations by this gesture. And at the first time you think, oh, why they just use the knob here and then buttons or something like that. But sometimes I've tested it while driving. You feel like, hey, why not using the gesture right now? It's sometimes also fun, especially when you're with the co-driver, or when someone has not been seeing this function yet. Then it's really funny to present it for the very first time. What's happening here? Instruments, you see they come alive when you start the engine. Nice visualization. This is standard mode. And if you go to the sport mode, you see they change, and you have a bigger digital speed and this red racing background. And now to the head-up display. You can see it there. It's not flickering, by the way, in real life. It's just on camera. And speed info, for example, but also GPS info will be displayed on there. And it is 70% larger. It's a very big one. It's the best on the market, I think. And infotainment system in detail, you see at the right and left side, there's the sensors. And then you can also use it as a touchscreen now. This is quite new still at BMW. And good responsive times. I really like that. And also the co-driver can do a lot. But you can also control it in a classic way, like zoom in and out and go to the menu. This is, again, told you sometimes I think it's a little bit too confusing where we go here. You can connect phone with Bluetooth, but also with Apple CarPlay, with the cable, or also with wireless CarPlay, and also the competitors, for Android and stuff. And here's the radio menu, so you can browse everything quite quickly if you know where to go to, or then also use the new gesture control. And also the camera system is really interesting. So I guess a button for the camera, and here you can check it all in the rear, for example, but there are also other views available. So let me just put it in the reverse gear. There it is. That looks different. Here, when I fold out the mirrors, then back again, then we also get the real view. And what is also interesting is here the rear view camera, the normal one. if you turn the steering wheel, it looks into this direction, so it's a little bit adaptive, and that is very helpful when you're parking reverse outside from something where you cannot see right and left from your driver's perspective, but the rear is already outside and seeing some vehicle or so. Then it really makes sense. So a good technological development here for sure. Here the climate unit is very interesting with this display. You can control it right here, but the classic temperature right there. Then a nice cover here. The structure, I really like it, already in the 550i. In the front, you can put the key for inductive charging if you have that option, or also if you have, for example, an iPhone with this loading wireless charging cover. It's very thick and pretty big actually, but one of, for example, the Android handies, the Android mobile phones, they also have inductive charging included. And then you have a blue light flashing, and then it's also charging. Adaptive beverage holders in the front. Then there's an automatic gear lever with a converter gearbox. A lot of torque to carry, but very flawless in the function. You control the driving mode, sport, comfort, and Eco Pro and stuff here. You see that also, as we've shown you in the instruments, the views change. You then have the camera button and this one here where I control the infotainment system if you do not do it via touch. And the armrest here with the USB port. We have discussed that now in the comments already. I would like to see a second USB port because maybe not everyone is going for the inductive charging function. And now let's go to the rear. Very good entry. The doors open almost 90 degrees. That's remarkable. Then this huge panoramic roof, also good for the rear passengers that you can see outside. It's really nice. Headroom wise, still some left. Again, I'm 1m86 or 6'1". You would have more when you leave out the panoramic roof, because you can see also adults can very well sit here when you still have the panoramic roof mounted. Some knee room also left. But it's a very long car, so the package overall for the rear passenger is not the best, because we've seen similar results for way smaller cars too. Then you can also have some beverage holders here. There we go, also a little bit adaptive. Or you can also use the ski hatch and fold down this one already from here. The rest will be done from the trunk. Isofix on both outside seats, so you can have 2 child seats, for example. And then you also have the climate control if you want, also for the rear passengers. And now the highlight of this very vehicle, opening the electric hatch, the standard equipment. And wow, that's a good offering of room. Some hangers right there. And for example here you can store the covers, you know, the cover for the trunk, and that's really good solution because they're really fixed right here. Or this one would be the second one, you know, to pull up a net at the front seats, and I've left them out here that we have the full glory of the trunk here at the moment. And then I can also better show you how to flip the seats, and that's pretty easy. It's electrically done here, and then they just flip right there. And here, when I put this one there, also the other one. So good solution, and wow, how much stuff we can load through here. So a very well done system. Really like that. And here, whoa, that's so funny that they put an hydraulic damper here for this middle part. I mean, okay, we sometimes say we need hydraulic dampers for the hood in the front, but maybe this is also a little bit over the top, isn't it? But of course, again, you can say, yeah, you pay a lot of money, then you can maybe also enjoy stuff like this. Then also let's close the hatch, see the safety feature. That's quite okay, so we can live by that, then no one gets squished. And of course, let's say you have loaded everything to the very top, maybe you're on holiday, then you can also use the split hatch here and then put something on top. And then again, if you have mounted the covers here, for example, the cover that goes like this and then up again, you can also project it to that everything falls to the cabin. So it's a nice feature, and you can also open the hatch now electrically. It won't do any damage. That's actually not a problem. So you're very versatile in this case. The other one, by the way, is just manually drawn back like this. So you use some power. And then optional, you can also get this foot opening mechanism. And they say the sensor is not right in the middle. You have to keep the key in the pocket, and the sensor would be just a little bit to the right. And see, yeah, the first try now, live on tape. You know, we always try to give you an authentic look, and we will not leave out any product details. So, and you can also close it again. Hey, that's a flawless result for this foot opening mechanism. I mean, you just have to know where exactly is it. Some place in the very middle part, some place a little bit to the right. And it's always important that you always take a step back after have you even activated. But so far, here, 2 out of 2. And someone asked for it, and yes, I'm doing it, just to reinstall those covers here again. And, well, this one here is not too easy to get out again, but in general, I think they have found a good solution to store it, if I mentioned it earlier, but also to put it in again. This one here is actually quite heavy, but you can see here, there's a gap that puts on there. I have to put it very tight, so this one is fixed then. And then you can open 2 parts right there and hang it right in there. So, a little bit tricky. There it is. So, and then this is all secure, that nothing can fly over, even if you put something on the very top. And then, but I mean, you don't have to put this. And then this one is also very easy to install again. Just slide it forward like this. So, and then have it in this rail. And wow, magic. And the good thing is also that it automatically closes when you close the hatch. So here we go, there it comes. And it's closed, and when you open it again, it first opens before the hatch. Then you have this setup. And it's really good, they can load in things very easily, you know, and automatically open. So I think great solutions. So let's go with our driving part. Interesting is here that we also have this integral steering, the rear axle steering integrated with this vehicle. And this is a really interesting function because the turning circle, for example, is really, really small. Look at that. I mean, for such a long vehicle. And also when you are turning that vehicle in slalom, especially at low speeds, because at low speeds, the rear axle goes in the opposite direction. And wow, this is really a very interesting feeling. Also here, when you're steering close surroundings, it's totally different than when you do not have this option. And correct myself, for the M550i, yes, the standard M550i is not to be meant with that way, but you can still get it optionally for 3,500 euros in an M Professional package, so it's possible. And yes, it feels a little less natural than if you just have, you know, normal steering in the front, because it feels a little bit artificial, but it is a great feature for handling in the city, and it's also a lot of fun. It's really creating a totally different driving feeling. And when you drive faster, you experience it on the motorway, then the rear axle wheels, they steer in the same direction. You get some more stability then. So that is how those systems are always working. But again, it's giving you great agility then, especially at the lower speeds. And this car is, of course, about the driving dynamics. It's really always astonishing how agile the car is, although it's really big. You just, especially with this integral steering, you just want to do slalom all the time. It's really so much fun. Oh, I think cameraman Michel is getting a little bit sick by the slalom. Yeah, let's maybe leave that for a second. But I think you guys had fun, you know. You don't feel the G-forces on camera, so probably better for you guys. The 530D, the big diesel, is really powerful. Also has an interesting sound. Not, of course, that refined as the big petrol engines, but for diesel, quite good. Also, some sound is artificially created. Let's go to the sport mode when we go on the motorway now. Then I'll show you earlier that some characteristics changed visually, and also throttle input, for example, and stiffness 62. 120, 140. So that was 62, 140 kilometers. So really good performance. Also how harmonic, how smooth this performance comes. So you won't lack any power with this diesel, not at all. That's for sure. But of course, you know, diesels are getting, you know, are in a little crisis. Let's talk that way in image-wise. There's no great alternative yet to someone who's really dying 40, 50,000 kilometers a year. You know, doing salesman, business service, for example. But for every other, you know, not so much range per year. So it's more and more important to get small petrol engines, maybe also CNG, electric and stuff. That's all evolving. But still a lot of people are going for this diesel here when they use it for a long range car, and therefore we're also testing it today here for you. And from the diesels we know in general, this one here, the big BMW diesel, really does a great job. Such a calm engine, also gives you a lot of sovereignty. You don't have to turn it up really. You know, also in the low RPM regions, always gives you abundance of power already. And in general, this car here, you know, when someone wants to join the lane, why not leave him in? Some people are always, you know, fighting on the road, and I really hate that. Just, you know, relax. Everyone gets to the goal, to the final destination, and then you'll be fine. Just relax and be friendly to others. Then others will also be friendly to you, hopefully. So, and this relaxed, sovereign driving feeling is something that this vehicle is really all about. So the sound installation is superb. When you're driving 100 kilometers an hour, you hardly hear or feel anything. It's like driving 50 kilometers, you know, with a normal vehicle. Such a calm ride. The suspension is really great. You know, already the standard suspension is really great with that one here today, and that is special with the Touring. We have the air suspension in the rear. Well, we have some load in the rear, but not really heavy stuff. And the question is really, does it feel so much different? And I think you do feel a little difference, especially because you just have it at the rear axle. And I always wonder why they do that. Maybe we know it from Volvo that they do the same way, just air suspension in the rear to get the same level always, no matter which, you know, which load you are carrying. But for example, the Mercedes Airmatic systems, or now air body control called, they always put it on on both axles. I think, yeah, I mean here you sometimes feel when I'm running over some bumps that it is a little harder than in the rear. So while in the front you feel a little bit harder, in the rear you feel the car is flowing a little bit. Maybe I'm just imagining it, but that's I don't know what Michel thinks. Do you agree? In the front a little bit harder than in the rear? Yeah? Okay, he agrees. Yeah. He is able to speak, by the way. You've maybe seen one or two reviews from Michel where he was also reporting on camera. He's also able to speak. That's just to clear it out. But he's also very good at sign language. So sign language is great, yeah. So let's hop on to the motorway, this one here again. Then you can also check out the blind spot monitor, here a yellow triangle in the side mirrors. One of the first options I would go for, the autonomous emergency brake. Glad that it is from standard equipment, that's the most important one. And then we also have the adaptive cruise control, which is working really smoothly and flawlessly, and you can already see that again in the head-up display. I wish you could always see that in a small camera mounted here, but it's not possible. So the best head-up display on the market comes from BMW, that's certain. And you can also activate a button at the steering wheel with the small steering if you have this top trim for the assistant systems, because then the car is also able to steer itself. So BMW has worked a little bit even on this automated pilot system, and what you can do if you have the highest trim, you can also induce a lane change, and you hold down the shifting indicators. Well, it's supposed to have a hand on the steering wheel, and now first of all the car did not want to change because another vehicle is coming, but see, that was flawlessly done, so very nice. We can also switch it back again, so hold the turning indicator. Again, usually leave the hand at the steering wheel, but here I want to show you that the car is really doing what it's supposed to do. And so this one is already working. For example, you would usually do it like this. So leave the hand on the steering wheel and still use the shifting indicator. That's how it's supposed to be done. The question is really, why do you let the turning indicator do it, not just steer over yourself? But then again, that's just another step towards the autonomous driving. However, BMW can always score just with the sheer driving dynamics, of course, and that is great with this car. Especially, maybe if you think about an E43 or so, it has also great driving dynamics. But then it's also the question how much fun it is, and BMW always really gets it that they make the vehicles fun to drive, and that is one of the brand's claim, and basically it's also true for the most models, that's for sure. So rolling here very relaxed, and this is also what this diesel would mainly be for, to really go long ways and also have good efficiency. Let's see what's the current result here. I have to check a little bit above the steering wheel because I have the steering wheel a little bit higher than I would usually ride with it, that you can also see the speed we are running at the moment. So that's the explanation for that. Oh, we're a little bit high here, right? Let's see. So for example, if we would reset it right now, and if we just run on this motorway with 100 on the cruise control, then the consumption would merely be 5 liters on 100 kilometers. If you just do it, like you're doing it right now. And of course, we would just take a look at here when we also accelerate a little bit further, and if you go into city riding, and steady speed is always good for consumption, just keeping remaining speed. Also, we're going in a straight line, but before I reset it here, it was going way above 10 liters. So the truth is always something in between. If you take a look at the European figures for fuel consumption, you usually can add about 3 liters per hour on kilometers and then get the real value. The US figures for MPG is usually a little bit more exact. So now finally we can accelerate a little more. Ford Mustang fastback here. You don't see them too often in Germany, rather in the US. Also starting to rain. Today we do not have the X-Drive. When driving, you don't feel it too much if you have the X-Drive mount or not, because the vehicles are also very powerful. They are rear-wheel driven, so you also don't lose traction at the front wheels also. It will make sense with the X-Drive if you have even more power and the very big engines than like the 550i, or when you really have very slippery conditions. This is just a little bit of rain, it's not too slippery. The overview, by the way, is very good. The Touring leaves a better side to the rear, also to the rear mirror. The side windows are rather upright due to this rather conservative layout of the vehicle. So although the car is relatively big, you have a quite good feeling of it. And shown you earlier, the camera system also does its job to maintain that all that basically good overview. Maybe the A-pillar is a little bit too thick. Sometimes you think it's blocking the view just a little bit. So, and this, I mean, the main thing is that it's also a fun Autobahn vehicle. Now we're hammering the brakes a little bit. You feel the weight of the vehicle, but the brakes are generally also well in the dimension for that car. A lot of traffic always around Munich, for example. So if you think about going to Munich to hammer it on the Autobahn, there's some Autobahn parts you've seen in the 550i video where you can drive unlimited speed, but just some, and then you always have to check the traffic, you know, that you really don't get in some dangerous situations. So, and you can really enjoy every lane change with the 5 Series. That's what it's all about. And of course, always the performance when you hammer it here. Plop, and already to 100 once more. So one of the best Autobahn vehicles, that's for sure. And now the consumption is already up at 6.5 liters. But you already get the picture that if you compare it to the big petrol engine, you can save a lot of fuel, that's for certain. So what we will do, we will drive even longer, and at the very, very final stages of this day, when we do some more 100 or 200 kilometers off camera, then we will also tell you the very final consumption just in a comment, that you have a better comparison than what to expect with this 530D. And now to our conclusion, 5 Series Touring here for the BMW. So it was very interesting, as we have more versatility in the rear, of course. We still have the same features also with the remote parking control. I've shown you with the M550i sedan. And so there's also the possibility that we just continue talking and the car says goodbye then. So exterior, I think elegant sedan, that's for sure. Interior, quite versatile and also high class in the building process. 3 years later then. And also driving-wise, of course, good dynamics. I think BMW is really leading in the driving dynamics for sure. Also with the Touring, it doesn't make a big difference if it's a Touring or a sedan. They drive quite like. Just the air suspension is, of course, a difference. And I do like air suspension, as they offer you a lot of comfort. So, but you have to say that already the basis suspension here from the 5 Series is that great that you don't necessarily need an air suspension. Here it just makes sense if you really have a lot of stuff then in the rear, that you still get the very same level then. And so for the Touring it might make sense. In general, the suspensions we see from BMW, very good. The big diesel is very, very powerful, and so it's also basically enough to have this one. You don't need a more powerful one. You can also go for a smaller in general. So I want to hear your feedback. Which one is your favorite 5 Series, your favorite 5er BMW? Is it the Touring or is it the sedan? Which version are you dreaming of at the moment? And let's discuss this also in the comments. And of course, you can also check out other reviews, for example, from the Mercedes E-Class. We have so many different versions, also the T model, then also sedans, E43, E63, so many to compare, and also our other 5 Series review. We will also link them in the video description, or sometimes Michelle also does those video cards in the end that you can also click them, for example. So always lead over to the next review and keep supporting us. Thank you.